at any time, providing the ultimate peace of mind. The service is tailored to you and your life. You can customize different views based on what matters most to you. With DigitalLife, your home is professionally monitored, so you can rest assured knowing your home and family are protected at all times. If something happens at home, you'll be notified right away, along with the appropriate authorities. With DigitalLife, you can easily manage devices in your home, even when you're away. And customizable programs give you full control, so the devices in your home can work around your schedule. Finally, your home and your life work seamlessly together. AT&T Digital Life. Be at home wherever life takes you. AT&T. Rethink possible.
Good morning, I'm Kristen Folletti and welcome to News Desk on SiliconANGLE TV for Thursday, March 7th, 2013. Samsung's security woes keep coming. Here now to report on the latest issues facing the Galaxy device maker is SiliconANGLE contributing editor John Casaretto. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
In February, we reported on a method known as the cold boot attack, which involves freezing phones to access secured data on Android devices, as well as a Google Play security flaw that exposed Android app buyers' location and contact information to developers. Now yet another Android-related security flaw has reared its ugly head. Following the claims that the lock screens in the Galaxy Note 2 can be briefly bypassed, another Samsung owner has stepped up to claim that the bug goes much farther and can allow full access to the Note 2 as well as the Galaxy S3 devices. John, what can you tell us about these latest claims?
Well, this is something that appears to be affecting these Samsung phones, and apparently in this latest news here. You know, this bug goes much farther than the previous one did, and it's pretty interesting that it allows full access to the device. I mean, full on. Once it's defeated and you're able to execute it, you're no longer challenged at that point. So it's a pretty significant flaw there, and a security issue for a lot of people who actually use that lock screen. So I think that we're going to hear a lot of people talking about this, and hopefully a response from Samsung soon.
To go into more detail, it's reported that once the phone is bypassed, the bug appears to persist even when the phone's screen is turned back off, no longer challenging the user to enter their PIN, password, or pattern. So what sort of jeopardy does that put users in, and what kind of information is at risk with this bug, John?
I would say everything on the phone. The lock screen is the most fundamental, the most persistent the most present security level there really is on a phone, and the way people initially interact with their phone and their sense of security is tied in with that. And once that's defeated and that's gone, well, then it's game on. And that's a big issue. And I think that as far as the information that's at risk, people with their mobile phones and their smartphones, all the data that's on there. I mean, everything from contacts, spreadsheets, even financial applications. I mean, your whole world, depending on who you are, it could potentially be on that phone.
The bug was tested on 3 separate Galaxy S3 devices, and it was concluded that the issue is more likely related to Samsung's software rather than a widespread Android issue. John, can you explain the difference here?
Well, Samsung's main platform is on Android, and if we could tie this to an Android flaw, then obviously the effects would be rather extensive. We would have HTC phones, Motorola phones, and all these different phone platforms with these issues. Having this isolated at this point to the Samsung issue gives Samsung an opportunity to address how they've implemented their security on this, what the bug is. They definitely have control over all those aspects as well. And we have an opportunity here to have an excellent response and potentially a quick update that would get these phones back to a more secure basis.
Now, to be clear, this isn't a virus that's affecting phones. It's more of a bug or a hack. Is that correct? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, that's correct. So what it is, it's a sequence of key swipes using the emergency call, just a sequence of stuff, and you can look up how to do it. It takes a couple of tries to get the timing right, but basically what happens is that you're able to unlock the phone by using this method, and you have the full unlock at that point. It kind of reminds me of a story. When I started in the business, I used to work with this guy that was a kind of a hacker type dude, and he would walk up to Coke machines, and one day he just started pressing buttons, and he started to figure out that he could interact with it and get how much money was coming in and out of the machine, how many $1 bills, and how many quarters, and this and that. And pretty soon he figured out how to get Cokes out of it. So flaws and weaknesses are out there that aren't meant for other people to see, but eventually they get discovered. He exposed those, they fortified that, and I think this is some of the back and forth that we're going to see with this. It's simple interfacing and hacking the layer of security that they put on there, and they're just going to have to find a way to patch this.
Is there a way for Samsung device users to identify whether or not their phone might be at risk?
Well, right now, I mean, pretty much you have to figure that you're on that list if you have got one of those Samsung devices, But if you're worried about it, you could follow the sequence that's out there on your phone to verify that it's going on. It's a simple sequence. It takes a few seconds, a few tries, and if you're successful, well, then you're vulnerable. And ideally, when that patch comes out, you're quick to update it, and you get your phone back into a very a better security position, because right now, as it stands, with this flaw out there, and a lot of people know about it, and obviously it's been published. It's a big deal.
Has Samsung issued any statements regarding any of these claims?
No, not yet. They haven't. And the release of this came after a number of attempts to try to get Samsung or get an update from Samsung, and I think that the fact that we're here at this point is really going to accelerate that timeline that Samsung actually comes back and replies to this or issues an update that will, bring this, close this hole, if you will. And I think that, their silence is a little strange at this point, but perhaps with this public acknowledgement that or public knowledge that there's something out there, they'll acknowledge it, and then, address the fact that this knowledge is out there, get that hole secured, and get this back to normal.
Until a fix is released, is there anything that these device owners can do to protect themselves?
Hang on to your phones. Don't trust in the strangers. Use your different security applications that are on your phone. Your things like that track your phone and things like that. So at least you have an opportunity that if the phone's recovered, you'll know who was able to access it if they can. But just keep a hold on your phone, because the security layers that you traditionally trust obviously are not there. They're not working at this point. And there's a lot of things in regards to that. Again, the security and just practice good behaviors and so on.
This flaw comes on the tails of reports that the lock screen in Apple's iOS 6.1 can be completely bypassed using the emergency call feature. John, do you find it strange that the same type of security flaw using the emergency call function has been revealed through two separate device makers?
Well, it certainly is a strange coincidence, and it's possible that people have been inspired to seek out this one. And once you have a certain type of flaw, people will try to take that flaw and apply it in different situations and see if there's some similar type of oversight and security screening practices and things like that. So I think that that's likely what happened here initially, and we'll probably hear more in the future of other people trying this on other platforms and other leading phones and things like that.
With all of the Android security flaws we've reported on, do you think Samsung needs to do an overhaul of their Android OS, or are these types of issues always going to find their way into mobile software?
Well, I think it's more of the latter. There's always opportunities for, hacker flaws really to kind of expose themselves, things that people haven't thought of, swapping cables out and, Bluetooth. I mean, there's so many vectors into a phone. It's like a little portable computer. And if, something slips in the design or in the thoughts or, a minor flaw, then you've got an exploit like this, and you just have to be ready.
Well, John, thank you so much for your time this morning. Great chatting with you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
And still to come this morning, get your daily dose of tech with your SiliconANGLE News Roundup. That's next on News Desk.